This is the table of the northwest corner method. The first thing we do is to add 200 plus 100, it is equal to 300, plus 100, it is equal to 400. Also the demand. So 200 plus 150 is 350, plus 50 is 400. So this is a balance table. So in northwest corner method, the first thing we must to solve is here. So from the north, so let's have this in this cell, so 7. So as we could see, in the demand there is 200 and also 200 in the supply, so we should write here 200. So this would be 0, and also this one. So this cell or this column and in this row will be called as occupied. So hindi natin yan gagalawin. So let's down here on 3. So we have in the demand 150 and in the supply 100. So let us 100. So this would be 0, and 150 minus 100 is 50. So as we could see, the 0 here, so let us eliminate this one. And so now we have to down in the 2. So on this demand there is 50 and in the supply there is 100. So 50, so this would be 0, so cancel this one, and 100 minus 50 is 50. So the last one is in the 7, because this is already occupied, so we have the 7. On the demand is 50 and the supply is 50, so we should write here 50. So this would be 0, and also this one. So the minimum total transportation cost is 7 times 200 plus 3 times 100 plus 2 times 50, this is 50, and plus 7 times 50, and it is equal to 2,150. Just the same table that we will be using. So but in this least cost method, so from the word itself, least, so we should start from the least number on the cell. So as we could see, there is 1 here, so this is the least among the numbers here. So 1, so on the demand there is 150 and the supply is 200. So let us put a 150 here. So this would be 0, and this one would be 50, because 200 minus 150 is 50. So we should eliminate this one. So since 2 is already occupied and 3, so let's go to 4. So 4, and the demand is 50 and the supply is 100, so let us put 50 here. So this would be 0 and this would be 50. So this would cancel this cell, this is already occupied, and 4, so let's go with 5. So 5, 200 on the demand and 100 on the supply, so let's pick 100, and this would be 0 and this would be 100. So on 6, so on the demand on the supply there is 50 and the demand there is 100, so 50, this would be 50, and this would be 0, already occupied, and also this one. So on 7, so on the demand there is 50 and the supply there is 50, so let's put 50 here, and this would be 0, and also this one. So the minimum total transportation cost is 7 times 50 plus 1 times 150 plus 6 times 50 plus 5 times 100 plus 4 times 50, and it is equal to 1,500. Now, let's go to Vogel's approximation method. So, in Vogel's approximation method, so on the cell, let us look those two numbers, the least two numbers, so we should get their difference. So, in this row, so 7 and 1 is the least, so 7 minus 1 is 6. So let us put here on the row penalty or the row difference. Then here is 3 and 4, so 4 minus 3 is 1, and here is 5 and 2, so 5 minus 2 is 3, and also in the column, so 5, 6, 7, so 5 and 6, so 6 minus 5 is 1, and here is 1 and 2, so 2 minus 1 is 1, and here is 7 and 4, so 7 minus 4 is 3. So on Vogel's approximation method, so let us find the biggest number, and encircle this one, so 6. So, and since this is the biggest number and the row penalty or the row difference, so 6, so let us find the smallest number, and dito tayo magsisimula. So we have here 1. So, and the demand is 150 and the supply is 200. So let us put 150 here. So this would be 0. It's already occupied. So let's cancel this one. So 200 minus 150 is 50. So that's for the first step. So next one is, let us do the same thing. So 9 minus 7, since occupied na po ito, so 9 minus 7 is 2. And here is 6 minus 4 is 2. 7 minus 5 is 2. So also in the column, so we have 1. Yes, this one, since it is already occupied, so could not do this and could not do thing here. So on here, 7 minus 4, so the same, so 3. So out from the number, so 3 is the biggest, so 3. So let us find the smallest number here, so 4. So on the supply is 100 and demand is 50, so we have 50. This would be 0 and this would be 50. So the entire cell would be 1. So occupied na po yan. So here, so 7, 6, and 5. And now, so 1, because 6 minus 5 is 1. And here is occupied already. So here. So now let us find the biggest number. So we have here 7. And find this one. So 7 is the only one left. So 7. And the supply is 50 and the demand is 200. So add here 50. This would be 0. This word occupied. Since 200 minus 50 is 150. So again, so this would be occupied. 6. So 5. Then 1. Occupied. And also this one. So the number here is, the biggest is 6. So 6, the only one left here. So 6. The demand is 150 and the supply is 50. So 50. This would be 0 occupied, and also this one would be 100. So again, so occupied and occupied. So 5 left. Then let's have 5 here. 5. This one is occupied. And also this one. So 5. So either here in the column or in the row. So they have the same value. So 5. So try natin dito. So 5. So only 5 left. So the supply is 100 and the demand is 100. So 100, so this would be 0 or 0. So we could say the entire cell is already occupied. So the minimum total transportation cost is 7 times 50 plus 1 times 150 plus 6 times 50 plus 4 times 50 plus 5 times 100, and it is equal to 1500. Iteration 1 of optimality test. Find U sub I and V sub j for all occupied cells. Ij, where C sub ij is equal to U sub I plus Vj. So in this case, we should let V sub 1 is equal to 0. And then in the first row, take a look at number 2. In the first row, first column, it is equal to U sub 1 plus V sub 1, in which U sub 1 is equal to the first row and column 1, which is 7, minus V sub 1, in which we let it as 0. So we have 7 minus 0 is equal to U sub 1, 7. So we have our U sub 1 is 7. So number 3, C sub 1, 2, or read it as a first row and column 2. So we have U sub 1 plus V sub 2, in which V sub 2 is equal to C sub 1 and 2, or the first row and column 2, which is the number 1, and minus U sub 1, which is 7. So we have V sub 2 is equal to 1 minus 7. Also, our V sub 2 is equal to negative 6, because 1 minus 7 is negative 6. So take a look at number 4. C sub 21, or the second row, column 1, which is 6, is equal to U sub 2 plus V sub 1, which is U sub 2 is equal to C sub 2 and 1, or the second row, column 1, minus V sub 1. So our second row, column 1 is 6. Then minus V sub 1, and our V sub 1 is 0, because we let V sub 1 is 0. So we have our U sub 2 is equal to 6. And number 5, C sub 2 and 3, or the second row, column 3, is equal to U sub 2 plus V sub 3, which is V sub 3 is equal to C sub 2 3, which is second row, column 3, which is 4, and minus U sub 2, which is 6, is equal to V sub 3 is equal to negative 2, because 4 minus 6 is 2. So take a look at number 6. C sub 3 1 is equal to U sub 3 plus V sub 1, which is U sub 3 is equal to C sub 3 1, which means third row, column 1, which is 5, minus V sub 1, which is we let as 0. So we have 5 minus 0. So our U sub 3 is equal to 5. So take a look at the table. So we have the U sub 1 is equal to 7. U sub 2 is equal to 6. U sub 3 is equal to 5. And V sub 1 is equal to 0. And V sub 2 is equal to negative 6. V sub 3 is equal to negative 2. So that is our occupied cells. Now, just the same table. So earlier we find the occupied cells, but now let us see the unoccupied cells. It means that those who are not occupied, which we can see on the table in those are number 9, 3, 2, and 7. So find dij for all unoccupied cells ij, where dij is equal to cij minus u sub I plus b sub j. So this is our formula. So number 1, d13 is equal to c13 minus u sub 1 plus b sub 3 is equal to, so since our c sub 1 3 is 9 and minus 7 minus 2, which we can see on the table, so is equal to 4. So number 2, d sub 2 2 is equal to c sub 2 2, in which read as the second row, second column, which is number 3, and minus u sub 2 plus b sub 2, in which our u sub 2 is 6 and our b sub 2 is negative 6. So we have 3 minus 6 minus 6, so we have, or the result is 3. So number 3, d sub 3 2, or read as the third row, second column, which is 2, is equal to c 3 c sub 3 2, which is 2 minus the sum of u sub 3, which is 5, plus b sub 2, and our b sub 2 is negative 6, so we have 5 minus 6, so 2 minus the addition of 5 minus 6, so we have the result of 3. So number 4, d sub 3 3 is equal to c sub 3 3, in which our c sub 3 3, or read as the third row, column 3, which is 7 minus the addition of u sub 3 plus v sub 3, in which our u sub 3 is 5 and our v sub 3 is negative 2, so we have the 5 minus 2 and the parenthesis, so we have 7 minus 5 minus 2, so the result is 4. So these are our unoccupied cell. So since we can see the result is 4 3 3 4 and there are no negative results, so it only means that we should not go beyond into looping, because you can, or we can only operate looping if there are negatives, or there is at least one negative on the unoccupied cells.